Thank you all for being here. I'm sure you all know why we're here, but let me explain a little bit about why we've all come here today to talk to all of you. As you know, the state of Connecticut is in trouble. And it's not in a little bit of trouble. It's in a lot of trouble. And what we've seen year after year, election after election, particularly in the past few years, are a governor and a majority in the legislature swearing they will not raise taxes, in fact, sometimes saying they'll lower taxes. And then the second we get in, what happens? In the past 6 years, we've had two of the highest tax increases in the state of Connecticut's history. There is no reason to believe, facing a $3 billion deficit next year, that anything will change if the same people are in control. You have seen the House Republicans not only say what we're going to do, but do it. Day after day, year after year, budget after budget, no tax increases, reducing borrowing, reducing spending, reducing regulation, making the state of Connecticut someplace that individual residents and businesses, big and small, can count on, can trust, and a state that gives you predictability. We are joined here by many of my colleagues in the House and many of our candidates who will be joining us in January 2017 as part of this House Republican caucus. We are here because 40 years of one-party rule in the legislature clearly isn't working. Coupled with a governor of the same party, the state of Connecticut is not being served well. And we are able to tell you and understand what the state of Connecticut wants and needs because we're out there every day, in all corners of the state, in urban centers, in rural towns, in suburbs, because we are the big tent party. We are the people that listen to the citizens of the state of Connecticut. We don't just say it, we do it. And today, for your visual entertainment, we have a little bit of a video that we're going to show you to illustrate that. What I believe people want from their elected officials are three things. One, honesty above all else. Two, a passion for whatever issues they're working on. And three, more important than ever right now, is courage to make the tough decisions. Courage to do what they say they're going to do. Hi, I'm House Republican Leader Thenis Claridis, and together with 63 of my colleagues, we represent almost half of the citizens of the state of Connecticut. These are people from the suburbs, from rural areas, from urban centers, men and women, retired, working, professional. And when you sit there and you look at people in our caucus, you realize what the Republican Party in Connecticut's about and what the House Republicans are about. Our unity and passion for this state are what binds us together, but our perspectives and diversity are what allow us to make the best decisions for the state of Connecticut. Like you, we are
students,
grandmothers,
husbands,
doctors, proud members of the United States of America Armed Forces,
mothers.
The House and the Senate in the state of Connecticut have consistently, for the past 6 years, gone along with Governor Malloy, and they have not stopped him from his bad policies, perpetual deficits, no job growth, and pushing businesses out of the state. It's time to end one-party rule and let common sense principles prevail.
Spend no more than you make.
Borrow only what you can afford to pay back.
If it's not broken, don't fix it. But if it's not working, get rid of it.
The more government tries to do, the less it does well.
We should have all the government we need, but only the government we need.
Please join us on November 8th and let's make history. We don't have to wait to turn the state of Connecticut around. In addition to the video, we have several, as I mentioned, of our candidates running for the House that I would like to introduce now to say a few words about how they feel. about where the state is going and why they're running. The first is Stephanie Cummings from Waterbury.
Thank you, Themis. As you heard, my name is Stephanie Cummings. I am a two-term alderman in the city of Waterbury, and I am running for the East End and East Mountain District, House District 74 in Waterbury. It's a very exciting endeavor, but as I go and talk to my constituents, the choice is clear. Hartford needs more common sense, and they're not getting it. When I grew up, my family could only spend what they had. We had a budget, and we had to stick to it. As I grew up and I have my own household income and my own household budget, I stick to those same principles. If I have a budget, I have to stick to it. I can spend no more than I earn. Hartford doesn't follow those same policies. We're squeezing our homeowners, our taxpayers, and our small businesses right out of the state. It's not sustainable. These constituents, our small businesses, they're the backbone of our society, and we can no longer continue to treat them the way that we do and expect them to stay here. On November 8th, it is our ability to make a choice and a difference in Hartford. If you vote for Dan Malloy and the Democrats, it's going to continue the status quo. But if you vote for the Republican ticket, you will have change in Hartford and a new generation of leadership. Thank you.
Next, we have Dr. Bill Pettit, who's running for the House District of Plainville and New Britain.
Thank you very much. I am running in the 22nd District, which comprises Little Old Plainville and the west end of New Britain. And continuing on that theme, I'm going to talk for a few minutes about borrow only what you can afford to pay back. Since Governor Malloy has taken office, the amount of money we are bonding, or for many of the people that I'm speaking to at doors, using our state's credit card to pay for things has nearly doubled, even in the face of our large budget deficits. With more than $22 billion with a B, in bonded debt, Connecticut ranks as one of the most indebted states per capita in the country. Most of us have probably gotten into spots where money becomes tight for a few months, unforeseen circumstances put us in a bind. We think we're going to catch up, and then all of a sudden the car dies. You got to go out and buy the battery because you got to bring the kids to school, you have to grocery shop, you have to use your car to get around, and then problem with the heater. And it's February 2 years ago when it's 16 degrees, and you got to get the guy in to fix your heater, and that's another big chunk of money, and you put it on the credit card. And then after a couple of years, you realize that you've been putting a variety of things on your credit card, and it used to be just the necessary expenses, and now you're putting things that you want and things that may be a bit frivolous on the card without thinking about it. You start to look at your statements going back over the last few years, and you find out that you spent money on things that you didn't necessarily need. I think Connecticut has to come to the same realization if we're ever going to restore our fiscal health. The majority party, I believe, has relied too heavily on bonding to pay for both essential, admittedly, but non-essential items. And in the case of bond premiums, we haven't taken advantage of the proposals to use the bond premiums to pay down our principal and thus decrease future interest payments. There's always going to be necessary projects that we have to bond, school construction, fixing major highways. But I think for the near future, the reality is we have to stop borrowing for things that we want, and we only can borrow for things that we truly need, because at this point we can't afford all of those things. Finally, I think if we do not make a change and institute a firm bonding cap, we run the risk of passing off huge debt to our children and grandchildren, and I don't think that's a future that I want for my son William. So I thank you for your attention and looking for your support this fall.
I would now like to welcome Steve Kohlenberg, who's running for a state representative seat from Stamford.
Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Steve Kohlenberg. I'm running for state representative in Stamford. I'm a city representative currently, and I'm really passionate about making the state the best place that it can be. One of the top things I want to talk about today is this very simple fact. If it's not broken, don't fix it. If it is broken, get rid of it. And I have personal experience with this. I grew up pertaining mostly to the DMV. I grew up in the car business. Everyone has a DMV story, right? Okay. I grew up in the car business, so I really know the DMV. And when I was in college, I used to work, part of my job was to go to the DMV and register cars that were, for whatever reason, on a very short leash. Like, we need to get them done that day, end of story. And usually this was a simple process. You go in for an hour, you get everything taken care of, and you walk out with 5 or 6 registrations and you're good to go. Last, I want to say August, everything changed overnight. The state put in a new computer system that was totally out of line. I would go in for an hour in the past. Now I was going 5, 6 hours minimum. It got to a point where I would have to wake up at 2:30 in the morning, get to the DMV by 3, sit there until they open in order to get one of the first spots in line, because otherwise there would be no way I can get my work done that day. This is the problem with our state. We have a legislator that makes reckless decisions, like buying a computer system that several states have already rejected. And what are we supposed to do? The rest of us are here to suffer. So you know what? We need new leadership in Hartford. We need new people in Hartford. We need a new set of eyes. We need a new generation of people. And the only way to do that is to elect people like me, to elect people like all these wonderful people standing behind us, and to move our state forward in a positive direction. Thank you very much.
Tom Delnicki from South Windsor.
Thank you, Leader Claridis. As the mayor of the town of South Windsor, I've been living with the crisis in South Windsor each and every day. You know, it's amazing when you start talking about the mandates that are handed down to the cities and towns that we have to live with. You know, it brings up an old saying, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you. In this case, I'm from the state and I'm here with another unfunded mandate. And that's what we're living with. CCM identified 10 key mandates that needed reform. We know there are over 1,200 unfunded or underfunded mandates that towns and cities live with each and every day. I can recount a couple of stories as the mayor of the town of what I've had to live with, the taxpayers have had to live with, businesses have had to live with. Literally, we've had situations where board budgets see themselves going up because of these mandates, paperwork mandates, mandates that don't educate the kids and guarantee a quality education. We've dealt with mandates. You go to repair a road, you go to resurface a road. What happens? You have a totally new standard than what that road was constructed on. It's overbuilt, it's over budget, and it's overthought. We've got a situation where we did a project like that, a guardrail along the side of a country road that looks like it belongs on Interstate 84. Think about that. How would you like to have that across the street? I have to live with those neighbors that are dealing with that and try to ameliorate the situation. And lastly, when you take a look at some of the regulations that have come down, we're building the budget. And quite frankly, the budget this year for the town of South Windsor was tough. We had to literally wait to the last minute to set the budget based on our charter because we had leaders in Hartford, Governor Malloy, the leader in the House and Senate, both Democrats, that weren't talking. So here we are, trying to set the budget, not knowing what the final number is going to be from Hartford. We waited till the last minute, took a best possible guess, and we were lucky. We made it. But during that budget process, we found out another unfunded mandate pertaining to stormwater, and we're already cleaning our catch basins. We're already sweeping our roads. But now we have $750,000 in new costs to do it above and beyond what we're doing, which is an excellent job. It's clear, it's simple. We've got a serious problem in Hartford. The only way you're going to solve that problem is to change the leadership in Hartford. And I'm looking to Leader Claridis to be our next majority leader. Thank you for the opportunity. And I stand corrected. Speaker, my apologies. I gave you a promotion.
I'll forgive you. And last but certainly not least, Emanuela Palmares from Danbury.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It's my honor to be here alongside my colleagues to share with you some of the core principles of Connecticut's Republican Party. I am a proud Brazilian-American immigrant raised in Danbury's 110th district. My dad's journey in this country began as a construction worker, my mom as a house cleaner. Eventually, Dad became the owner of the construction company that gave him his first job, and Mom founded the first English, Portuguese, and Spanish newspaper in the state that today is the largest publication of its kind. Due to their faith, hard work, and perseverance, I stand before you today aiming to become the first Brazilian American in the United States elected into state office. Thank you. However, my parents' story is not unique. It's the story of thousands of immigrant families that live in our state today, and millions who came before us looking for an opportunity to make their dreams come true. Dreams that would not have been possible in their country of origin. And for us, that country of origin was Brazil. There, my parents experienced the compounding consequences of when government is too big and tries to be the answer to all, and stays in power by campaigning on unfulfillable promises and creating unsustainable policies. The result is a government that hinders and limits the future of the people it promised to want to help. And having that perspective of knowing how things could get, it's one of the reasons why this core principle of the Republican Party in Connecticut is so important to me. We should have all the government we need, but only the government we need. We can fund essential services like education, health, public safety, creating programs and safety nets for those who truly need them, while avoiding hindering and limiting the future of the people of our state and putting our fiscal health at risk. Regardless of party affiliation, this is the balance we should all strive to achieve to create a sustainable future for all of us in Connecticut. Look, I'm a single mother of a child with special needs who needs services. I'm a partner in a small business that feels the burden of our state's tax and regulatory practices. I'm an immigrant who was undocumented and took a long time to become a citizen and learn how to speak the language in a public school ESL program. But I'm also a concerned citizen with the future of our state. I'm also concerned about our ability to maintain a future for my children and all of our children. And that is why I am a proud candidate for state representative for the 110th district as a Connecticut Republican. A party that gives me the freedom to be all of the above all at once. A party that strongly believes that the principle that we should have the government that we need, but just the government that we need. A party that one can have a difference of opinion with his peers and still believe in core principles that regardless of race, religion, background, or sexual orientation are common sense measures that will ensure a future for us all. President Abraham Lincoln once said, the best way to predict the future is to create it. Today, we're asking the people of Connecticut to join us in creating that future. Thank you.
And that's just a few of our amazing candidates we have this year that will be joining us in leading this January. Folks, here's the problem. People are sick and tired of their elected officials saying one thing and doing another, going into their towns, saying they will do something and then not doing it, and coming up with every excuse as to why that's not the case. We are not only standing here telling you what we will do, but we've also shown you what we have done day after day, year after year. So we are not giving you lip service like you hear from most other elected officials. We've put our money where our mouth is, and we're going to go forward and make this state the best state it can be. We don't have to wait another 2 years. We can change the course of the state of Connecticut in 55 days. Please help me do so by electing Republicans into the majority of the House of Representatives. Thank you.